testifying about her daily meetings with Richard Allen, serving in the role as his psychologist. She told jurors that last April, Allen told her during a one-on-one meeting, "I killed Abby and Libby, I'm sorry." But it was a month later, during another meeting, that Wallace says Allen not only confessed, but he gave details of the murders. Waller read from her clinical notes today, telling the jury what Allen told her. And she said, Allen went to his parents' house in the morning, bought a 6-pack of beer on the way home and drank 3 of those beers, and then bundled up and went out to the trails. That's where he saw Abby and Libby, and he followed them across the bridge. She said Allen told her that he did something with his gun at that point, which he thought might explain how a cartridge from the gun ended up at the crime scene. And she said Allen told her that he instructed Abby and Libby to go down the hill. The psychologist told the jury that Allen then said he planned on sexually assaulting Abby and Libby, but he saw a van and got scared, so he told the girls to cross the creek. And Wallace said that the defendant told her that that's where, in her words, cut their necks. That's what she said that Richard Allen told her, cut their necks, and made sure that they were dead, and then covered their bodies with branches and returned to his car, staying off the trail so that he would not be seen. So Wallace said that that was one of multiple confessions that she heard from Richard Allen during his time at Westville, and that, again, there were multiple confessions. And it's interesting to point out that you might think that your conversations with a doctor or a psychologist would be private, and the defense team tried to exclude Dr. Wallace's comments and her testimony from the trial. Right. The judge ruled that she could talk about her interactions, despite the fact that she was serving as his doctor, right, because of a very specific Indiana law that when it comes to confessions or murders, that type of testimony is allowed.
Yeah, and she talked about writing those down with a pen, taking notes, and then actually going back each day and entering them into a system, and then she would shred her notes. And the defense really attacked that, the fact that she shred her notes, and thought that that was not best practices. And she said that she did that, you know, for security reasons and privacy reasons.
And it was interesting that when Dr. Waller was reading from her notes today, that that evidence, that exhibit, was actually passed out to all the jurors, so they could follow along in her notes, right, as she was testifying. And one of those clinical notes that she read from actually was another confession involving a phone call that Richard Allen made to his wife while he was in prison. And Dr. Wallace said that Richard Allen requested that she actually stay with him so that she could hear him call his wife, Kathy. And I want to just share with you what she recalled from that. She said that he asked his wife if family loved him and would always love him. He had talked about the fact that he might have to live the rest of his life in prison. He mentioned the electric chair, and he stated, "I killed Abby and Libby," at which point she said that she could hear Kathy Allen, Richard's wife, saying, "Stop saying that." And then he said, "I didn't do everything that I said, but I did kill Abby and Libby."
Right.
So again, the jury got to hear what is really, I mean, once the jury hears those types of things, that's not something that you can unhear.
They cannot unhear it.
Yeah. I mean, very, very specific details that he provided. And again, this was multiple conversations that he had that Dr. Waller overheard.
And the state has been saying that, you know, that they would eventually, that he had provided details that only the killer would know. And I think that we heard some of those details today, right?
Yeah, we did. And it's interesting, though, because in the interrogations with Richard Allen, we saw those videotapes earlier in the week, there were
some good questions, and the